ඔෆිස් එකේදී විතරක් නෙවෙයි මම දැන් ගෙදරදීත් IDD calls ගන්න SLT phone එකේ.
ඔබේ නිවසේ SLT දුරකථනය දැන් IDD පහසුකම සහිතයි.
Making headlines on First at 9. Nature's might. Floods and landslide claim 17 lives. Over 50,000 displaced and nearly 140,000 people affected.
Out of this 138,000 members, 53,000 families are staying at 231 welfare centers.
What's the fuss? Dr. Nalaka Gudaheva brushes off concerns over UK destroying files pertaining to their involvement in Sri Lanka's war.
The pro-LTT Tamil diaspora, by creating a conspiracy theory, is just trying to create a mountain out of a mole.
Time for change. The Janata Vimukti Perumuna hands over the 20th Amendment to the Constitution in a bid to abolish the executive presidency. Some, however, not in favour. Owning up. Parliamentarian Dayasiri Jayasekara concedes receiving money from a PTA subsidiary. Clarity. President of Sri Lanka Cricket on the West Indies tour.
We will assist West Indies cricket as much as we can as far as Sri Lankan cricket team expenses are concerned.
A very good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Katrina Chang. Now on to our top story tonight. The adverse effects of the heavy downpour experienced in Sri Lanka continues to wreak havoc, with the death toll which stood at 13 yesterday jumping to 17. The number of people displaced by the disaster situation has gone past 50,000, while the total number of people affected is approximately 140,000. The displaced are housed at 231 safe locations. One person, though, is reported missing.
Due to the heavy rain, all 12 spill gates of the Thabbowa reservoir were opened this morning, making the number 1 village of Thambapani in Thabbowa fully inundated. Apart from this, areas of Kotuvila, Nathandiya, Mahavawa, Pallama and Madampe are also underwater, and officials of the Gangewadiya Navy camp and Thabbowa Army camp took measures to rescue 1,000 people from 300 families who were affected. Puttalama Anuradhapura main road is also submerged, inconveniencing the people in the area. In the meantime, a police officer who attempted to save a woman and 3 children from being dragged away by a current is reported to be missing. The police said Navy are conducting investigations in search of the missing policeman, who is identified as 29-year-old Dilan Sampath. In the district of Kurunagala, the Kalubulu Oya has burst its banks in the area of Magulagama owing to heavy rains. One person travelling by a motorcycle is reported to have perished. In the meantime, a 40-year-old died when a landslide occurred in the area of Otarakirivanpola in Alauwa. He was asleep in his house at the time of the landslide and was buried under it. Meanwhile, floods are reported from water-level gorging locations in Allagawa, Millakanda and Putuwaula, with low-lying areas also inundated. Areas of Anguruvatota, Bellapiti Akkaratispaha, Maduravala, Nattupana and Yala are also underwater. In the meantime, a novice member of the Buddhist clergy at a temple in the area of Kakulaliya in Hurana, suffering from ill health, was taken to hospital for treatment by the Navy. The army officials of the Gamunu Watch and the 16 Gajaba Regiment are working to provide relief to those who are affected in the areas of Bulat Sinhala, Molkava, Maravila and Mahavawa. In the Ratnapura district, the Navy is providing relief to affected people in the areas of Ayagama, Alapatha, Mathabaddara, Viharagangoda, Pallegedara and Dambuluwawa. A lot of roads are inundated in the Gampaha district owing to heavy rainfall. In the meantime, the main bridge of Kaduvela was repaired with the intervention of members of the Tri-Forces, and vehicular movement recommended as usual this morning. However, the flood situation in Kalupalama, caused with the river Kalani breaking its banks, is still prevailing in the area.
The Disaster Management Centre states that landslide warnings in the districts of Ratnapura, Kegol, Nuwara, Kalutara and Galle continues to be in effect, as they are identified as areas of high risk. The DMC also requests the people residing in low-lying areas of reservoirs with open spill gates to be vigilant.
National Disaster Relief Service Centre allocated 35 million for cooked meals and fried ration, and also they have released 35 million for the pest payment of cows damage. Dambova, all 12 gates are opened yesterday. Now the situations are under control, and also up to last 24 hours, Moragasweva area received 217 millimeters rainfall, and Kolonava also received 220 millimeters rainfall. National Building Research Organization already has sent the early warning, especially high-risk landslide area, Ratnapura district, Kegol district, Nuwara and Kalatura district. Already we have attached over 5,500 three forces and police for the evacuation activities. We have taken every step to evacuate the people and also ensure their cooked meals and dry ration.
Speaking to First at 9, Deputy Director of the Disaster Management Centre, PRADEEP KODIPPILI urges people residing in the low-lying areas of reservoirs with open spill gates to be vigilant.
The reserve has been open in Kukuleganga, Udavalava, Lakshapana, Tadruya, Apakodmale, Rachangane, Thabova and Batalagoda. So people beside that rivers and irrigation canals have to be very vigilant with their prevalent situations. At the moment there are a lot of flood conditions being reported in Puttalam district, especially after rain last night until this morning. People were evacuated from Tambapanya 1 area. All the relief missions are still going on with the funds of Minister of Disaster Management, and funds already been released to the district secretaries and division secretaries. The Kaluganga still in danger condition. Kalaniganga is been normalizing.
In the meantime, taking to Twitter over a developing weather condition, the Indian Meteorology Department warns of an extremely severe cyclonic storm dubbed as Mekhanu traversing over West Central Arabian Sea. Contacting the head of Climate Prediction Group of the Indian Department of Meteorology, Dr. DIASPORA, seeking clarification over the severe cyclonic storm Mekhanu, First at 9 questioned him over its impact to the countries in the Indian Ocean, especially India and Sri Lanka.
No, not at all, not at all. Only it has delayed onset of monsoon over the region because of Mekhanu. Otherwise, South Andaman Sea should have got earlier. Sri Lanka also, there is no. Already Sri Lanka may be getting, particularly western part of Sri Lanka might have got a continuous rain. In the Indian region, so far monsoon has not entered, but monsoon is providing a lot of moisture in that region. So because of the pre-monsoon, heating plus moisture is giving rain now. But once the monsoon heads over, continuous rain will be there.
There were media reports saying Britain's Foreign Office destroyed almost 200 files on Sri Lanka dating from the start of the LTTE terrorist uprising, during which MI5 and SAS secretly advised the country's security forces. Certain media outlets quoted the Tamil Information Centre in London as saying that they are horrified to learn that the UK's Foreign Office has destroyed vital information on the British government's training and arming of Sri Lankan security forces. The convener of the Patriotic Professionals Forum, Dr. Nalaka Gudeheva, however, brushed aside any possible conspiracy pertaining to the actions of the British government in this regard, saying it is similar to creating a mountain out of the molehill.
The Guardian on 23rd of May said that Britain's Foreign Office destroyed almost 200 files on Sri Lanka, dating from the start of a Tamil Tiger uprising, during which MI5 and the SAS secretly advised the country's security forces, commenting that the loss of the files means that, quote, there is almost no record of the British government's work with the Sri Lankan authorities at the start of a famously brutal civil war, unquote. The report further says that the destruction of the files raises fresh concerns about the Foreign Office's attitude towards handling historic files on sensitive subjects. The media report quoted Vairamuthu Varadhakumar, Executive Secretary of the Tamil Information Centre in Kingston, London, saying, quote, "The Tamil community is taking strenuous efforts to collect and preserve records on history and the human rights situation in post-independence Sri Lanka," unquote. And they are horrified to learn that the UK's Foreign Office has destroyed vital information on the British government's training and arming of Sri Lankan security forces, which were involved in widespread human rights violations against the Tamils. The convener of the Patriotic Professionals Forum, Dr. Nalaka Gureheva, however, thus responded to the media report.
The British government destroying some old files related to Sri Lanka's internal conflict is a routine exercise as far as I see. That can happen anywhere. But who is trying to create a conspiracy theory out of this? That is the pro-LTT Tamil diaspora. And what is pro-LTT Tamil diaspora? This is a handful of individuals who are living out of the vast pool of money that belongs to the huge empire, business empire that was built by LTT during the war times. To enjoy the perks and the privileges of this money, which amounts to about $400 million a year according to our estimates, these guys have to keep the Elam dream alive. So they spend part of that money that they collect annually on various propaganda activities. So this noise about British government destroying all files that are related to the internal conflict of Sri Lanka is also part of a well orchestrated drama. I don't think there's anything that the British government has to hide, because their stance about Sri Lanka's internal conflict has been consistent throughout the years. So the pro-LTT Tamil diaspora, by creating a conspiracy theory, is just trying to create a mountain out of a mole. I do not think anyone has to take this serious.
US President Donald Trump has nominated Career Foreign Service Officer Lena B. Teplitz as the US Ambassador to Sri Lanka. She is currently the US Ambassador to Nepal. A career member of the Senior Foreign Service with the rank of Minister Counselor, she joined the US State Department in 1991. If confirmed by the Senate, Teplitz would replace current US Ambassador to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Atul Keshap. He was nominated by former US President Barack Obama on the 26th of March in 2015. His position was later confirmed by the United States Senate on the 5th of August in 2015. Ambassador of the United States in Sri Lanka, Atul Keshap, says that as the Geneva framework moves forward, not only will United States walk hand in hand with full partnership with the people of Sri Lanka, but they're certain that as that happens, there would be a very important and cathartic process of healing. He said this during an interview last night at Derana 24/7. He further said that aid given to Sri Lanka is virtuous and is deployed with full consultation of the government and with people of Sri Lanka.
Politics and policy has been more directed towards expecting Sri Lanka's expectations to comply with human rights standards. What are your views on Sri Lanka's current path to reconciliation?
Well-intended international partners, including the United Nations, to co-sponsor a resolution that talks about the bright vision that the voters of this country have for a reconciled, peaceful, happy Sri Lanka. We want to walk with Sri Lanka hand in hand, all of the people of Sri Lanka, to see that brighter future come true.
But where the aid goes in Sri Lanka, I understand that over $2 billion of aid have been diverted to various sectors, and also about what expectations America has.
I'll tell you where our aid goes. You know, there are a lot of things in the newspapers. I won't address those directly. We are setting up a program that will ensure that young people in this country are empowered to develop a brighter future through entrepreneurship. If Sri Lanka isn't prosperous, it can't achieve that bright vision of the future that the voters have dictated for their leaders. So I'm very proud of our record. We think very carefully about how we engage. We do it respectfully and with full collaboration and partnership with the government of Sri Lanka and the people of Sri Lanka. And we're good friends. We don't ask for anything back. We would like to see more steps taken, and we think that as the Geneva framework moves forward, not only will the United States walk hand in hand in full partnership with the people of Sri Lanka, but we are certain that as that happens, there will be a very important and cathartic process of healing. Here's what I would say. Whether you look at American aid or European aid or aid from the World Bank or the ADB, which is loan aid, as opposed to grant aid, which is what America gives, and we're the #1 grant aid partner, our aid is virtuous. It is deployed in full consultation with the government and with the people.
What challenges do you think for incoming investments, foreign direct investments to Sri Lanka?
Our companies make sure that they do not engage in any untoward activity. So our companies go where they feel that there's a level and fair playing field where they can operate within the very strict parameters of ethics. I would like to see those standards that we like really be available to our companies. And frankly, I think with regard to transparency and corruption in Sri Lanka, more could be done. It's not easy. A lot of people will complain, especially those who have sort of, you know, a pretty good thing going. And so my feeling is a little more opening up. I win, you win.
Now for the full interview with Indiveri Amuwatha with US Ambassador to Sri Lanka and Maldives, Atul Keshap, tune in to at Hyde Park on Ada Derana 24/7 tomorrow at 7 p.m. Now on to some other local news now. Leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna parliamentarian Anura Kumara Dissanayaka handed over the 20th Amendment to the Constitution to the Secretary General of Parliament as a private member's bill. The amendment, which calls for the abolishment of the executive presidency, was handed over to the Parliament Secretary General Dhammika Dassanayaka this morning. Speaking to media, leader of JVP MP Anura Kumara Dissanayaka said that since 1994, every president that has come into power, including President Maithripala Sirisena, have promised the abolishment of the executive presidency but have failed to do so.
The executive presidency has given rise to numerous issues in the country. Powers within democratic institutions have been diluted, including the parliament, the cabinet, as well as the judiciary. The executive presidency has fostered an environment where people accused of serious crimes walk free. Therefore, progressive leftist movements have from day one voiced displeasure over this. The 20th Amendment to the Constitution proposed by the JVP aims to abolish the executive presidency. This was presented to the Secretary General of Parliament Dhammika Dissanayaka this morning by party leader Anura Kumara Dissanayaka, accompanied by several of their MPs. The 20th Amendment to the Constitution proposed that the President be appointed by the Parliament and he would be the leader of the state, while the leader of the government would be the Prime Minister. Furthermore, the President will have no power to hold any ministerial portfolio and he would not be able to participate in cabinet meetings. However, the President would be able to study cabinet papers and forward proposals to the cabinet. The 20th Amendment to the Constitution also proposes that the President will retain the power of appointing ambassadors and high commissioners. However, those appointments will have to be approved by the Cabinet. It further adds that once appointed, the President, he or she, should not be part of any political party. However, speaking to media, Field Marshal Minister Sarath Fonseka said that he is in disagreement with the abolishment of the executive presidency. The leadership of the UNP should express the party's stance with regards to this amendment. However, if you take a look at the current political environment of the country, it is best if we continue with an executive presidency. If we abolish this, it will pave the way for individuals who have destroyed the country to run for presidency. One of the proposals made by the 20th Amendment to the Constitution is that the President be appointed by the Parliament.
Speaking to First at 9, constitutional expert and national convener of the organisation Rata Surakimu, Krishma Varnasuriya says allowing the legislature to select the president of the country is equivalent to diluting the executive powers of the citizens of Sri Lanka.
We have clipped as much of the executive powers as possible, and now if we are to clip any more, we are not going to make a president. And also these present amendments that are now being mooted by a political party to abolish the executive presidency and to make a new president. We study in constitutional law that the three organs of government must remain separate: the judiciary, the executive and the legislature. Now that is why people by a direct vote elect a president directly for our executive power, and by a separate vote we elect a legislature to make laws for us parliament separate. Now if we are going to now take that away and take that from the power of the people and ask the legislature to pick an executive, we are dissolving or diluting executive powers that we, the sovereign Sri Lankan, holds, in my opinion. Then we are concentrating executive and legislative powers. As long as these powers remain separate, it's good for democracy. But when as soon as one or more of these powers are concentrated in one institution, you are creating a dictator.
UPF MP Das Sirijasekara today considered that a cash cheque he received by Walt and Rowe Associates, a subsidiary of Perpetual Treasuries, was used for political activities in 2015. The parliamentarian revealed the matter in Parliament today.
In
2016, we received $800 million in foreign direct investments. By December 2017, we managed to increase this to $1,900 million. The first thing individuals who bring black money from abroad to Sri Lanka do is they invest it in assets to make it appear white. Who did you decide to give EAP finance to? It was Leica Mobile, which is known to have financed the LTTE. Chandrika Kumaratunga and Mano Tittawella behind this deal. This was given to Leica Mobile owner at a time when a local investor was on board to invest in the company. The cabinet went to the extent of changing its laws so they could give it to Leica Mobile. Investors will not come when those on top positions are seeking bribes. When someone gives millions of rupees in bribes, it is in hope that the work will definitely be done. Then who gives this guarantee? Not only did these individuals give their word, but why did they count 20 million rupees in cash in their vehicles? This was carried out to ensure a third party that it was the correct amount. Who is the third party? And that is my question. The government is setting aside the actual problem of the bond issue and is attacking individuals. There is talk about me receiving a cheque from Walt and Rowe Associates, a subsidiary of Perpetual Treasuries Limited. I wish to clarify that this incident took place in July of 2015, and back then I was not even in Parliament. Arjun Aloysius and his father are people whom I've known for a long time. There are some businessmen who come and help us. This cheque was not written in my name, and it was in fact a cash cheque. We tried to find who gave it to us, but we could not remember who cashed it. We cashed this cheque to be used for our political campaign. I did not assist in covering up this bond scam in any way. I did not even go to courts to stop the COPE committee report. When the time came to vote on the no confidence motion against the Prime Minister because of this incident, I voted for it. This is a hunt being carried out targeting certain politicians.
Minister of Science, Technology, Research, Skills Development and Vocational Training and Kandyan Heritage, Dr. Sanath Amnugama praises the economic vision of former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa. He says former Defence Secretary's economic vision is very much suited to the modern world. Meanwhile, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, however, is unimpressed by the prospect of the former Defence Secretary contesting the presidential election in 2020.
ඔබතුමා හිතනවාද ඉදිරි ජනාධිපතිවරණය සඳහා මේ යන හැටියට ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහතා ඉදිරිපත් වෙයි කියලා? එයා ඉදිරිපත් වෙනවා නම් එයාගේ අප මුදල මගේ ගානේ.
If he does, I'll post his bond, but I might lose that sum.
නමුත් මගේ ගානේ.
Most of the presidential candidates are unexpected ones. Various names are hurled around as potential presidential candidates, but they are just simple talk at media briefings. What the public expect is a leader who is trustworthy. I don't believe the UNP can win a presidential election without moving for a restructure. This is his last opportunity to take the leadership and represent members of the UNP. Nothing is given on a platter, and he too should work towards it. The lecture given by Gotabaya Rajapaksa during the program Viatmaga is one of the most important lectures of the country's history. He put forth a new economic vision which is appropriate for the modern world. It is not the vision of the old SLFP or the SLPP, and therefore there should be a dialogue as to how far this vision should go. Until now, irrespective of who came up with it, there have only been wrong economic policies which cannot be implemented. I'm grateful to Gotabaya Rajapaksa for launching a new point of discussion. We do not know who will be the presidential candidate in 2020. Our leader is President Maithripala Sirisena, and we will work with him.
Municipal Council member of the Dehiwala Mount Lavinia, Ranjan Silva, died last night in a shooting in the area of RATMALANA. He is the father of national cricketer Dhananjaya De Silva and was elected to the Municipal Council from the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna during the last local authorities election. Police said the shooting was perpetrated by supporters of underworld figure Amar Singhara alias Kudu Anju. Municipal Council member of Dehiwala Mount Lavinia, Ranjan Silva, was talking with two other persons adjacent to his residence along Nyanianda Road in Ratmalana last night. Three people who walked to the location opened fire on the trio with a T-56 firearm. The shooters then absconded and the wounded trio were admitted to the Kalubowila hospital where Ranjan Silva succumbed. Ranjan Silva was elected to the Dehiwala Mount Lavinia Municipal Council from the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna during the last local authorities election and is the father of national test cricketer Dhananjaya De Silva as well as former Municipal Council member Ramal Silva. Following the death of his father, Dhananjaya De Silva has decided not to fly out with the national test squad tomorrow for a tour of the West Indies. Police said his older brother Ramal had death threats from the underworld figure Kudu Anju and he had headed back towards the house when the assailants opened fire which saved his life. Police investigations also revealed that over 10 shots have been fired while 9 spent bullet cases were recovered from the scene. It is suspected that supporters of Kudu Anju had intended to murder Ramal Silva as a birthday present to him, which was today.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Derana SUNSILK Awards 2018 will be worked off tomorrow in recognition of the contributions made by the artists of the silver screen to the Sri Lankan cinema industry. The awards were first introduced in 2011 and is now being held for the 6th consecutive year. First at night, Sheila Fernando is at Nelum Pokuna Theatre, bringing us an update on the ongoing preparations.
Derana SUNSILK Film Awards 2018, undoubtedly the biggest film awards ceremony organised by a media network in Sri Lanka, is set to take the centre stage at Nelum Pokuna Theatre tomorrow. The ceremony will focus on 25 movies that hit the theatres last year. As you can see, the preparations are ongoing for the star-studded event. The ceremony will begin at 6 p.m. tomorrow and will be telecasted live on TV Derana from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Awards will be given under 3 categories including 14 special awards by the jury, Derana Cinema of Tomorrow and 7 popular awards. The ceremony will be graced by many stars of Sri Lankan cinema along with their performances. Tune in to TV Derana tomorrow to experience the star-studded celebration.
Governor of CBSL, Dr. Indrijit Kumaraswamy, says that indebtedness is a key issue faced by businesses in the Eastern Province. Speaking at an event today, the governor of the CBSS said that measures should be taken to stop malpractices carried out by the informal sector, which lead to the problem of indebtedness and exploitation of borrowers.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka held consultations with associations and entrepreneurs of small and medium enterprises in Trincomalee today. The aim of the consultation is to find out the issues faced by entrepreneurs in the region. The event was held under the auspices of the Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy.
The main focus of the consultations we want to have with you is the indebtedness problem. Clearly, it's a very serious problem in the Eastern Province. There have been a number of suicides, and the problem, I understand, is particularly severe for female-headed households. These are very vulnerable people. The central bank's reach extends only to the licensed banks. We can't regulate beyond that. So the informal sector is beyond our reach. Because the best way to stop some of the worst practices is for the borrowers themselves to be aware of what their rights are and what their responsibilities are. Then the degree to which they can be exploited will be significantly reduced.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.
President of Sri Lanka Cricket Tilanga Sumitipala states that as far as the expenses of the Sri Lankan cricket team is concerned, SLC is willing to lend a hand financially to the West Indies. West Indies cricket are currently facing difficulties in bearing their finances, with the Sri Lanka tour of West Indies costing nearly $2 million.
West Indians have been having some difficulties in their financial situation over the last few months. Therefore, they wanted ICC to advance some money which is due to them in years to come. With that kind of a surrounding, they wanted to find out what Sri Lanka cricket can do at this moment of time. This tournament is going to cost them almost $2 million. We will assist West Indies cricket as much as we can as far as Sri Lankan cricket team expenses are concerned. So therefore, whenever they can recover their financial situation from where they are now, we should be able to discuss and resolve such situation. So we have to help other countries whenever they are in difficulty. They have contributed so much for the game of cricket. So we have to look after their interest. That is our obligation from the ICC and Sri Lanka cricket point of view.
And that's it from First at 9 for tonight. But since it's Friday, it's time for the good story of the week. Today, we bring you a good story born out of adversity from our own Sri Lanka. Prevailing floods, though destructive, was also a portrayal of humanity that was thought to be lost. A number of disabled and elderly victims could be seen being rescued from floods. Not only people, but also a number of trapped animals were also rescued by those who rejoice humanity. And with that, we conclude this edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.